Hey there, friends. A little bit different type of video for you guys today. This is to kind of show you the way government indoctrinated school systems and education is shaping our children's mind, and the weak people who are actually, quote, leading them and, quote, teaching them in those schools, indoctrinating them. This is really a sad story, and I want you to take a look at this.
A presentation gone wrong when Burlington police officers staged a surprise demonstration on Wednesday with visiting Burlington high school students, bringing in a masked gunman who pretended to open fire.
I'd be a little upset if that happened to one of my kids.
Police say the demonstration was to show the unreliability of witness statements, but the lack of warning and the realistic sounds of the fake gunshots had students taking cover and shaking. One student told us they even texted their parents out of fear for the worst. BPD issuing a statement on Thursday saying the Burlington Police Department apologizes to any students in attendance who were upset by this specific scenario and crime scene portion of the presentation. The Burlington School District explaining in an email to parents that police did explain to them the realistic nature of the demonstration and that teachers were aware this might happen. What they didn't expect was this mock situation happening without any heads-up warning or without a chance for them to properly prepare students, stating that after the demonstration, it was clear that students and staff were negatively impacted. Oliver Pearson has 2 kids in the South Burlington School District. He feels for the teenagers and parents involved and that there has to be a different method police could have taken to get their point across.
They could have still had that surprise effect maybe they're looking for, but without sort of the trauma of subjecting the kids to that.
Chin State Rep Troy Hedrick's district includes Burlington. He believes the demonstration was inappropriate regardless of proper warning.
I'm beside myself to understand how anybody could have thought that that was an appropriate thing, training exercise to even develop, approve, deliver.
Burlington Mayor Emma Mulvaney Stanek agrees and plans to advise police on a different approach.
I would much prefer an anti-violence and a trauma-informed approach in exposing kids to law enforcement careers.
Mulvaney Stanek hopes the police department and the school district learn lessons from this moment.
Instead of talking about generally scenarios, I would be very specific about what entailed in the learning scenario. And I hope that the school district could also ask more questions and learn from this as well.
Now, some are saying that this was a mock school shooting. It was not. It was never intended to be a mock school shooting. Remember, this took place at the Burlington Police Department, and it was a mock robbery. The students were just there to watch a presentation that was being given, and then they staged this mock robbery. So it wasn't addressed at the children. It wasn't intended to be a threat to the children. What they were trying to do is show the inconsistency of statements after a crime had taken place, and where people, failed to get certain details and understand certain things, like recognizing what color pants was the guy wearing, what kind of gun was it, what did he say, where did he go, what door did he leave out of. That's what it was intended. So these children were not the center or the topic of this staged robbery. They were not the ones allegedly being robbed. So they were simply bystanders, right? The biggest thing to take from this is this was all warned by the police. And I'm not taking the police department side on this. I don't know if this is how I would have handled this. What I'm saying is they did their job. They notified the school what was going on. Let me read this here. The Burlington Police Department said they spoke with staff about the specific details of the scenarios in the presentation in May, which included using fake firearms in a mock shooting. Police provided a portion of their discussion with the program staff. Quote, "Do you think that sort of incident would be okay for your group of students? It is about as real life as you can get, and is certainly exactly the sort of thing we deal with most frequently." Police said that the YES program staff, which is the school, agreed that the students would be okay with such a presentation. Quote, "I think these students will be fine with this simulation. We will give a heads up to parents and students." So here we go again with lack of accountability. Burlington Police Department, they crossed all their T's and dotted all their I's. They asked the school to give a heads up to the parents. To me, that was respectful. A lot of these school systems, which this one didn't, don't want to notify parents when something is is to be done, or they dropped the ball on it. The police department was attempting to make sure parents knew about this, but they also said to let the students know. I find it crazy ironic that everybody is saying that, even the school system, right? The school who dropped the ball on this and did not tell any of the parents, it's come out that they did not notify the parents, as they said they would, and they did not notify the students. They've come out and said, well, yeah, we knew about this, but we wish they would have given some kind of warning. That was your warning. They literally put it in writing. I mean, what more did you want? They sent you in writing what they were going to do, specifically down to the actual gun, talking about what they were going to use, the type of scenario, and that it is as real as it can possibly get. Yet you didn't tell anybody. And now you're saying, why didn't you warn everybody? This is what you get when you have government-funded projects like the school system. You get the lowest common denominator, and quite frankly, this is the kind of stuff that happens all across the country when it comes to school systems. This is just one that stands out because of the nature of what it is. Now, let's move on to the other stuff. This is a liberal enclave, right? Burlington. This is not a conservative area. I mean, obviously, look at the state representative. That's a liberal. That is a liberal right there. I don't even need to see this man's voting record or background. I know what he is, and I'm probably using the word man very loosely right here and casually inappropriate if you ask me. But where have we gone in society whenever our kids can't see something like this that, again, was not directed at them? I want to make this very clear as far as saying it wasn't directed at them. Even if they had been warned, until you're staring at or down the barrel of a gun in your face, you don't understand or don't realize how that impacts you, especially if you understand and respect the true danger of a firearm, right? So had these children, and I say children, these were high school kids, right? I mean, let's face it, most of us were working jobs, adult type jobs, when we were in high school already. So these aren't kids. Just by definition, they are. So if this demonstration had been somebody rushing in and simulating an actual school shooting and aiming guns at the kids' heads and shooting at the children, even with the fake guns, I would have had a problem with that, because the school system has done a fabulous job of scaring children and making them scared of guns. Now, my kid sitting in the class would not have been scared of the gun. Might not have cared for it being stuck in his face, but he wouldn't have shivered and fallen to the ground and peed himself like some of these kids apparently did, just at the sheer sight of the firearm. But if this had been a staged event that was mocking an actual school shooting, which is what people are lying and trying to say that it was not. But if that had been the case and they were targeting these children and they were trying to put that fear into these kids' head, that's a different dynamic altogether. I can imagine that look, we see the soft nature, the estrogen-driven, everything. Everything is wrapped in estrogen these days as far as it comes to boys. I mean, we're not trying, supposedly it's not good and it's not supposed to be right to raise a boy to be a man. So we wrap everything in estrogen and make them a bunch of little sissies. So that part of it lets me feel for some of these kids out there, because they're just not raised to be tough. Oh, I know that sounds tough. I mean, why would we want our kids to be tough? You know what? The men are supposed to be protectors. I'm sorry if that hurts women's feelings or the soft men who let their women protect them. But these young men should be being groomed and raised and mentored to be the strong figures and to be the tougher people. They are built different. We're not going to get into the argument of men versus women here, because we know that they are different. They are literally built different, from muscle structure to even how you think and how we approach things. Men and women are built different. Each has bigger strengths and better strengths than the other does. This is all common knowledge. Of course, it's being scraped from the school system right now. But my point is, instead of us beating into these children's heads that somebody might be popping into their school at any given moment to kill them, we should be truthful about everything. Which this will never happen. This is pie in the sky that I'm saying right here. This is something that will never ever happen. We should be teaching these children that there are politicians out there who have monetary gain in mind when it comes to not protecting these children in a school. If we put the effort into hardening our schools like we do teaching children that guns are bad and gun people are bad, there would never be a school shooting. And I mean this. If you made these schools to where only people who are supposed to be in the schools could be in the schools, locking doors, bulletproof glass, metal detectors, if you did the right things out there that don't cost a lot of money, they don't cost a lot of money. It costs more to fund a politician than it does to harden a school. But if we did the right thing, there would never be another school shooting. The closest you could come is maybe if a teacher brought a gun into a school. But then again, your metal detectors should deter that. Are you worried about your school looking like a prison? How many shootings do we hear about in prison? Have we ever polled the children in school to ask them, what would you rather, little Johnny? Would you rather the front door wide open to any dangerous sociopath or psychopath to walk into this school and indiscriminately shoot every single child and adult in here? Or would you rather us have bars on the windows or bulletproof glass, metal detectors at the front, and armed security wherever? How come we don't poll the children whenever we say we don't want our children to feel like they're in a prison? First of all, they're in a freaking public school system. It's very synonymous with a prison, right? Very much so. In fact, they probably would learn more useful information in a freaking prison than they do in a damn public school system. But we try to speak for our children whenever we say they don't want to be in a school that is hardened, yet we never ask them. We never poll them. And when you do, if you ever have, I guarantee you somebody's coaching them. Hey, little Johnny, tell them you don't want to feel like you're in a prison. So they use adult words whenever they answer the question. You know where that came from. If we were honest and serious about hardening these schools, and you really care what the children think, ask them. Ask them without the coaching, and ask them without the leading questions to try to pull the right answer out of them. Ask them flat out. You will get an answer that will unequivocally tell you what you need to do in these schools. So we should be telling these children, and again, this will never happen, we should be telling these children, that politician right there, that guy voted to keep that front door of this school open. You see that woman right there? She voted to make this school more vulnerable to sociopaths and psychopaths. Oh, and that guy over there, yeah, that guy actually voted to harden your school. But they voted him out because you have too many nut jobs in your area. We need to be teaching these children that voting has consequences, especially in these smaller local elections. I did find it a little bit ironic that the world's biggest grifter of, quote, school shootings, David Hogg, came out and was really upset about this staged robbery at a police station. Grift on, boy. This young man right here has made so much money off the backs of the dead kids who died on the other side of the school where he was not in any real danger in Parkland. And he never misses an opportunity to select a little bit of outrage to make you think that he cares. Remember, this is a person who pilfered through $1.something million of his 501(c)(3) nonprofit that was supposed to go to politicians who supported gun control. He chose not to pay them, and he paid himself instead. So we have the world's youngest, stupidest, and most useless grifter who's upset. And most useless grifter who's upset here.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.